was mixing the batter and getting behind the stove. Next, Everton legend Thomas Gravesen swapped out the high stakes of the Premier League for those of the poker room. He made over 150 appearances for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros, though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies is a part of my job.
To be honest, with all the dramatic diving in the game these days, there's probably tons of ex-pros who've got the acting skills to make it in Hollywood.
How are you today? Welcome along to Early Breakfast here on talkSPORT with Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. You can find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. It's breakfast back this morning, 6 o'clock with Alan Brazil and Dean Saunders. But coming up over the next hour, here's Sam with all the details.
Yes, a very good morning. So the Lionesses will face Spain in the Euros final this Sunday, live on talkSPORT in a repeat of the World Cup final from 2 years ago. Can they do the job over the best team in the world? Also, would you have Serena Wiegmann at your club? We'd love to hear from you on that this morning. 03717 223344. Lots of talk about that last night on talkSPORT. The Lions squad for the second test has just been announced. A few changes and a couple of injuries to update you about. And by the way, Owen Farrell is on the bench. Marcus Rashford is now a Barca player. We'll bring you the best bits from his press conference, and we'll talk about everything in the papers as well.
Lovely stuff. Samuel, you're listening to Early Breakfast here on talkSPORT with Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. How was your night last night?
Yes, it was all right, thank you. I managed to finally get some sleep after staying up late to watch the Lionesses the previous night. And I watched Conclave yesterday. Have you seen Conclave?
What a movie.
It's great, isn't it?
What a movie.
It's a cracker.
And quite timely with the passing recently of the Pope as well.
Indeed.
I had watched it not long before he had passed away. And
Yes.
and I thought, oh, well, now I know what's happening.
Yeah, exactly that.
I didn't know what happened when.
Yeah.
I really should know that.
Yeah,
Probably as a Catholic. But
I don't know whether there was as much sort of scandal going on behind the scenes as there is in the film. I would certainly not like to speculate on that. But there's a lot of goings on, isn't there?
Great ending, though.
Fantastic ending.
Did you see that coming?
No. Not at all.
Like, it totally took me by surprise.
Yeah.
And I had a feeling in my head when, your assistant aide had started to have the conversation.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
was like, I know what it's about.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then when they had that conversation, I was like, no way.
No way.
No way.
Yeah, a real marmalade dropper. Tremendous stuff.
A marmalade dropper.
You like that? Yeah, that's
Is
good.
that what they call it?
I think so, yeah. But no, fantastic. So I enjoyed that yesterday.
Really
How
good.
about you? Good night last night?
Yeah, I watched Spain Germany, to be fair.
Yeah.
Into extra time, and I was like, any chance we can bury these games, please, in just 90 minutes, please?
I know,
guys,
I know.
It's getting late. But listen, a solid performance as we expected from Germany. They weren't going to be rolled over by the Spanish at all, and now we know who we have in the final.
Yeah, no surprise Bonmati comes up with the winner, eh?
Not at all. Not at all.
Fantastic.
That's what she does. Just a pure winner. The fact that she had viral meningitis the week before the Euro started.
Mad.
And now look at her scoring the winner to go to the final. Brilliant stuff. Looking forward to that live on talkSPORT. We'll go into the final in just a minute, but first, back page of the papers. Lovely pictures of Marcus Rashford in his Barca kit coming out of a red London telephone box. Rashford's dialed in. He eyes Lineker's Barca numbers as loan is sealed, is the headline on the back page of The Sun. Back page of the Times. Rashford, new home in Barcelona. Also focus on Serena Wiegmann in the back page of the Times. Martin Ziegler writing, damehood for Wiegmann if the team win. There's focus on the Lionesses and the money that they'll get, each of them, for reaching the final, believed to be £87,000 each. That's a conversation we don't really have often, is that when you play for your national team as a woman, you get paid, and it's money that they absolutely need as well. Some of these Lionesses won't be on the money that some of their teammates will be making. But that's quite an interesting conversation. I'll get Sam to bring you the back page of that news very, very soon. Back page of the Daily Mail. Rashford, Barca feels like home. And the Telegraph pullout is going for a rise Dame Serena Wiegmann in line for honorary damehood if England retain the European Women's Championship, and could receive one even if they do not. What a hero is Serena Wiegmann. Spain will face the Lionesses in the final of the Euros this Sunday, live, of course, on talkSPORT. Aitana Bonmati, the Ballon d'Or winners' clever finish in extra time, edged the World Cup winners past the Germans 7 minutes before the end of the second period extra time, just as penalties look to be looming. The game was live for you over on talkSPORT 2.
Who will face England in Sunday's final? Will it be the world champion Spain, or will it be a German team looking to win a 9th European Championship for their country? Here is Claudia Pina's free kick. And it's in towards the danger area, and the header was from Alexia, and it flashes wide of the far post. Another good ball in. It was over the head of Mendes. A Paredes coming in, hits the post. And then an overhead kick on the follow-up from Esther. Sees the ball balloon over the top. Clara Bull, the only show in town here, with the free kick. Clara Bull, right-footed! And it goes just wide of the far post. It rolls around the back of the net. If you look at their football history, certainly in the women's game, not used to being underdogs, but they've played that role brilliantly against France on Saturday night, and tonight against Spain. Straight to Atenea, wearing number 10 for Spain, darting in fields, finds Aitana on the turn. Aitana, oh, she scored! Barca beaten at her near post, and Aitana finds a way. For the first time in their history, Spain have reached the European Championship final.
Spain won, Germany won, all thanks to Aitana. Germany nil, all thanks to Aitana Bonmati. That was Kev Hatchard live for you last night on talkSPORT 2. So it will be the rematch of the 2023 World Cup final, which saw Spain win 1-0, and the Lionesses make that long trip back from Australia feeling a little bit beaten. So this is the repeat in the European Championships. Of course, the Lioness is looking to retain the trophy. I did feel this would be a tough game for Spain, and it was. The Germans do not make it easy. Spain had plenty of chances, don't get me wrong, but Germany's keeper Ann-Katrin Berger was absolutely brilliant. You'll probably have heard of Ann-Katrin Berger. She was the Chelsea goalkeeper with Emma Hayes for a number of years. Her story, by the way, is unbelievable. To have had cancer twice and overcome what she's been able to overcome and still be a player like that and resilient like that. She's absolutely sensational. I actually think the keepers have been excellent this tournament as well. I think when as women's football, quite often the keepers can be a target point, for people to make fun of or diss or whatever like that. But the goalkeeping's been exceptional. Katakoi, who plays for Spain, she was remarkable last night as well. So there we go. This is the final we expected to see. And we're very much so looking forward to it live here on talkSPORT this Sunday night, 8 o'clock kickoff. The Lionesses against Spain, despite Spain being the favourites and defeating England 2 years ago. talkSPORT's former Lioness, Leanne Sanderson, thinks the outcome of last night's match will suit Sarina Wiegman's side.
Judging by how Spain played tonight, I fancy our chances. I mean, England have been quite underwhelming in this tournament. We keep saying it, not the best performances. But I think the last 2 games Spain have played, they've not been at the races. So I fancy England rest up because we looked tired yesterday. These Spanish players, they have the best players in the world, I have no doubt, but we have to be on our game. We cannot start the game the way we've been starting the other games. First 20 minutes we've started so slowly, so poorly, and we can't do this against this Spain team. But after this game, and after watching them against Switzerland, I fancy our chances.
I agree with Leanne Sanderson 100% on everything she said there. I think watching the game last night, I think, okay, the Lionesses could frustrate Spain. Only thing is they just can't allow themselves a millisecond to switch off. They have to be focused and all in 100%, and every player on the pitch has to be having the best night of their life. That's for sure. I mean, the Lionesses beat Spain in February 1-0, didn't they, at Wembley? So perhaps they can do it this Sunday night. I don't know how you feel about the Euros, but the amount of people watching it's just absolutely incredible. The last game there for the Lionesses, that averaged at 10.4 million tuning in to watch that game across all ITV platforms, and then the Sweden shootout, of course, was 7.4 million as well. So it feels that Euros fever has sucked in a number of people who might not have been interested in women's football before, but actually sucked in somebody that we didn't expect to ever be sucked into women's football. I like it. Former Palace owner Simon Jordan.
What I've noticed, and going to how Leanne was speaking, is I find it quite refreshing. I'm not a student of the women's game, and I've been critical of it in the past, predominantly because it gets weaponised and used to bash the men's game about what men's game has done to women's football and how it should cost represent and how it should cost pollinate financially. But I've listened to her and Courtney and Leanne speak with a refreshing candour that is often not in the men's game about how this player could be left out, that player could be played, what the manager's doing. And I thought that was quite interesting to be not just toe the line in terms of, I want England to win, so I'm going to say England will win. She thinks Spain are going to win, so she's prepared to say it.
He's in. This is Simon's way of saying he likes women's football. Now, listen, Simon and I have had it out so many times back in the day, 4 or 5 years ago, when Sky got the rights to the WSL and, the conversation of the money and can it be commercially viable. And I get Simon Jordan's point when it comes to a business sense in women's football. And I think that's changed now. We know that it's commercially viable. We know that tickets are selling. We know that people want to watch it. We know that fans want to be able to access it. So that has changed. And then obviously the standard comes into question as well. Well, we are still playing catch up there because there was a ban and Simon knows all about that. But those conversations now between Simon and I, they just don't even happen. In fact, back when Michelle Adjumang made her debut at Wembley, what was that, March or April? He came in the next day and he went, oh, that was quite a good goal from the girl who came on last night, made her debut, wasn't it? It was a really good goal. She took it well. And I was like, hello, who hijacked you? So I think so many people are having a different conversation about it now that, it's just more accessible. You don't have to always have these debates if it's good enough or not. It's there and it's there to stay. And it's nice and refreshing to hear Simon Jordan speak like that as well. On the sports bar last night, Jamie O'Hara and Adebayo Akinfenwa were together. They were joined by live football anchor Adrian Durham, who strongly believes that the Lioness head coach Sarina Wiegman could coach in the men's game. Oh, here we go.
I often thought that, there was a period where we didn't know whether Gareth Southgate was going to carry on and he gave it another go for the Euros. I actually thought if there was an interim period, I thought, Lee Carsley got that job. I thought Sarina Wiegman could do it. I wouldn't have minded seeing her given a go with the England senior side for those Nations League games. They went with Lee Carsley, and that's fine, and Lee got his chance and got us promoted. But I wouldn't have minded seeing if Sarina Wiegman could do it. But listen, her job now is to focus on the women. At the end of her contract, at the end of her stint with the FA managing the women, I don't think she would have a problem. It's whether she'd have the desire to go into the men's game. I think it's an interesting discussion.
Adrian Durham. By the way, credit to Adrian, because whenever he talks about football, it's just mostly focused in the exact same ways, totally straight when it comes to women's football and men's football. Like on the first game, match day 1 against France, he gave Serena a 3 out of 10. And that's what he would give Gareth Southgate. He doesn't try and, pretty it up or be kind or be really nice or anything like that. He just is the exact same. And I think that's fair, and I think that's refreshing. I think that might draw people in ever so slightly as well. I, for one, can't understand why we've still not had it yet. Okay, and you can have your opinion on this. Would you like to see Serena Wiegmann manage your club? 03717 22 3344. Remember when Hannah Dingley became the interim manager of Forest Green Rovers for all of something like 2 weeks? I remember that day on talkSPORT Breakfast, it all became about, would you have a woman at your club? And the amount of people who called in, mostly men, and said they just wouldn't have it. They couldn't understand or want the idea of a woman managing their club. And I'm like, but she's not going to change football. It's not going to change the rules. It doesn't change your team. It's just the fact that she's a woman, and that's where your main problem is. And if we've not seen it before, it's hard to even visualise it. But at some point in the future, surely it'll happen. You can let me know your thoughts. 03717 22 3344. Would you like to see Serena Wiegmann manage at your club? This conversation continued later on in the show with Jamie and Adebayo.
I actually genuinely believe that she could actually go into the men's game. In the right club, in the right surroundings, to the right setting, if you put her in the men's game, I think she'd get the respect that she deserves from the players. I think the fans would get behind her. She's not going to be the rallying cry type of manager that you're going to... But I think she'd be a really good tactician, the way she does things, the way she holds herself, the way she does her interviews. I genuinely believe you put her in the right setting, I think she can do a good job.
I think that's the key. I think she needs to go into the right settings. I think environment's key. I think the culture of the club is key. But listen, I don't... She's got to play a final. She knows what she's doing. Like, there's no two ways about it. She knows what she's doing.
But that conversation about getting respect from the players, that comes up as well when you talk about women working in men's football. They wouldn't get the respect of the players. And I think, why do we just assume that male footballers wouldn't respect a women manager? Why do we assume that? I mean, one thing we can see in this country that footballers have in common is that they like women. Please pick up the phone, 03717 22 3344. I, for one, would like to see it. You don't need to hear me say that out loud. You probably already know. What would you think of a woman managing your club, but Serena Wiegmann managing your club? And if Adebayo said it perfectly there, the environment would be key to see a woman flourish in that situation. Don't forget, the Lionesses against Spain in the Euros final this Sunday. Live kick-off at 8 o'clock and all the build-up from 4 on talkSPORT. Coming up next, we'll get into today's back pages. very good morning to you. How are you? You're listening to Early Breakfast here on talkSPORT with Adrian Flux. Get a tailor-made quote for your commercial vehicle. Search Adrian Flux Insurance for the individual. Alan Brazil and former Liverpool and Villa striker Dean Saunders are with you from 6 o'clock this morning on talkSPORT Breakfast. Don't forget, if you're heading out and about and you're away from your radio, download the talkSPORT app. And you can stay across absolutely everything here on talkSPORT, live sport on talkSPORT 2. You can swipe across, and if you want the latest with all the news, you can swipe across to Times Radio or Talk. And if you fancy the tunes, Emma B is on Virgin Radio Breakfast this morning in for Chris Evans. We've been talking about the idea of Sarina Wiegman managing in men's football. The guys on the sports bar, Jamie O'Hara and Adebayo Akinfenwa, had a good chat about this last night. Jamie's all for it. I have to say, it's refreshing to hear. Good morning, Shebahn. It's as simple as this. If a man can manage a women's team with no questions, then a woman can manage a man's team. It's so normal. It's just so normal to have male managers and women's football. And these male managers actually make the step up to go into men's football. We've seen it with the likes of Graham Potter, for example, in the past. He used to manage women's football a number of years ago. In fact, the Arsenal manager, former Arsenal manager, Jonas Eidevall, he was Henrik Larsson's assistant as well for quite some time in Sweden. So that crossover is quite normal. 03717 223344. Would you like to see Sarina Wiegman manage at your club? Some of your other headlines today: Hugo Ekitike will fly to join his new Liverpool teammates on their pre-season tour of Asia after completing a £79 million transfer from Eintracht Frankfurt. The French forward moves to Anfield after scoring 26 goals in 64 appearances for the German club. The champions have spent almost £300 million on new players this summer. Honestly, what's the point in anyone else turning up at this rate? England's cricketers go for early wickets on day 2 of the 4th test against India. They had the tourist on 264 for 4 at Old Trafford. India also lost Pant, of course, to injury after he was hit on the foot by a delivery from Chris Wokes. That looked like a Saurian. And the Lions have named their team for the second test against the Aussies in the last hour. It's coming up this Saturday on talkSPORT. Despite a comfortable victory in the first test, Andy Farrell has rung the changes. So in the starting 15, Inkan Bundyayaki, Ollie Chesham, Porter come in, whilst Kinghorn, Morgan and Owen Farrell are given spots on the bench. The second test live and exclusive on talkSPORT this Saturday.
Pride of Lions. From misty pubs and muddy boots, they flew with banter, stakes and suits.
Here we go, Test Match Series, up and running. The Lions kick off.
The Lions, bold, a touring band, to point red streaks on Aussie land.
Gliding to the right-hand side.
1 minute scrums, the next to sing. A pride that jokes but fears nothing.
We are taking them boys to the Hurt Arena this weekend.
The Wallabies are putting it up. Jorgensen will take it out to the air, and Jorgensen scores in the right corner.
To win this series, you had to win 2 games, and that's what we're going to go and do next week.
Scottish Grant and Leinster Soul, a Cockney jab and Valley's roll. 4 nations, one very wild crew, with dreams stretched deep in red, gold, white, green and dark blue.
The British and Irish Lions win 2 games to 1 with a remarkable performance in Sydney.
Came as men from different shores to go into test week. Let's hear the Red Sea roll.
Lions, it's all coming up for you live on talkSPORT this Saturday morning, the second test. I'll be working that one for you alongside former Lion Ben Kay, former Lion Alex Cuthbert and Andrew McKenna as well. The first one didn't disappoint. This one, what's amazing is all of the pundits, all of the former pros want to see the Wallabies push a little bit more. They want to see this be level at 1-1 going into the third test. Don't forget, if you want all of the interviews from in camp today, Alfie Reynolds, who's our guy out there on the ground in the camp, will have all of the interviews with the players from Down Under. That's Lions Uncaged, wherever you get your podcasts. We believe that Gary Ringrose was injured in training today, so we'll get the latest on that. Tuipulotu apparently has a bit of a hamstring injury, and Owen Farrell is in the squad. Anybody else just see that coming a mile away? Time now to look at today's back pages with Samuel. Hello.
It doesn't feel like nepotism, though, does it, with Farrell? Because he played really well in the last game. He's just quality, isn't he? Absolute quality.
It's so funny about the Farrell thing, how people are so divided. I mean, even the way he gets booed and stuff, I'm like, how can you boo? He's literally harmless.
Yeah.
He's just world class.
I know, he seems like such a likeable guy. He's a brilliant player. It's a mystery, but there's always going to be...
It's been quite funny because any time in the warm-ups, when he joined the camp, he flew out with like a day to go before the warm-up. I think it was against the Brumbies. He managed to get out, and we were like, oh, let's do a shot every time one Farrell's on the big screen. You know what it's like when the camera pans round to him, and he came on the big screen and his own Lions teammates started booing him. And that's kind of continued throughout. Yeah, so I think he's laughing it off. You can tell he's in good spirits. I mean, even his press conference the other day, his pre-match press conference, he's a different guy. And Andrew McKenna, who's been to more rugby games than he's been home, over the last year, was saying that in the 18 months since Farrell went to France, it's like he's had a full personality transplant. He's a different guy. So he was fabulous, captaining them against Pacifica the other day. So good that he's on the bench.
Excellent stuff. Now, England's Lionesses, from the Lions to the Lionesses, are each in line for an £87,000 fee and a bonus payment for reaching the Euros final, with head coach Serena Wiegman set to receive an honorary damehood if they win the tournament. A payment structure agreed between the England players and the FA means the 23-woman squad will share 40% of UEFA's prize money pot of €5 million, which is about 4.3 million quid. That works out an average of 75,000 per player, with a further 2,000 fee per match, taking the full payment to 87,000. There are also commercial endorsements on top of that, which should take some players' overall earnings to more than £100,000.
Yeah. This is a conversation that I don't think we have too often, is about the payments that the women get for being called up for England or being called up for the national team. It's money that they need.
Yeah.
Some of these players, I mean, for example, let's take Michelle Adjumang. I know she's 19. I know she's probably fresh out of uni as well. But she won't be making megabucks at the minute, whereas if you were a 19-year-old playing for your country and you were a man coming through the system, you know that you're going to be financially very, very comfortable. So to be called up for England, not only to get to a final, but you need the money. You need that cash as well. Some of those players, if I go back to the World Cup and say 2023, I would have known players in that England team who wouldn't have been earning a salary in the year. So that money to get to the World Cup was a huge payment for them, Same with my sister. Say example, if she's to try and get another contract now, chances are it's not going to retire her, not even nearly even close. So she's going to need another job at the same time. So when you get national team call up, and if you make it to a major tournament, it's money that absolutely helps. £87,000 each. I mean, it's a huge amount of money. Huge amount of money. But in football, it's a tiny amount of money.
A drop in the ocean,
Exactly that. So fair play to them.
But I'll tell you what's interesting is that commercially they must be doing all right. I mean, you literally can't watch an advert break at the moment without seeing the Lionesses.
Well,
some of them.
You're seeing Leah Williamson.
Yeah.
Lucy Bronze.
Yeah.
Lauren James.
Yeah. I saw Ella Toone advertising something
Ella
like
Toone
right
and Russo.
guard. Also Russo, yeah.
But then look at, I don't know, maybe Grace Clinton, for example. No, that's not true. Maybe Grace Clinton would probably be.
But there are a few who will
not be getting near a brand as yet. I mean, Michelle Adjumang should be the face.
Absolutely.
The whole thing, but she's not.
She will be, won't it? She will be after this.
So this money is important for the players, and actually when men play for England, it all goes to charity, doesn't it? It all comes together, goes to charity. In time that will happen, but they were nowhere near that yet for that money to go to charity just yet. But these players all do their charitable stuff in the week, so you see that often from them as well.
Now we'll talk more about Marcus Rashford shortly, but he's obviously all over the back pages as well, and we're limited for time here. But just to say, Shebahn, or just to ask you, do you think that being surrounded in what you might call a winning environment rather than the rather sort of rotten and sometimes disconnected one at Old Trafford will be of a help to Marcus Rashford in terms of trying to rediscover his best form?
Absolutely. By the way, his press conference yesterday was delightful to listen to. I thought he looked the part, suited and booted. He spoke very well. It was nice to hear him talk.
Yes, it was nice to hear him talk.
Instead of being talked about, it was nice to hear Marcus Rashford talk. I mean, what happens for him? Will he start at Barcelona? It's looking unlikely. But a great move for him. It gets him out of the country, away from the hate or the press here, what he's used to putting up with and hopefully it can bring back his best, and hopefully he can win trophies. I do want to see that for him, to be honest.
Yeah, and it will be interesting, very interesting to see how he gets on. We'll have loads more from Marcus Rashford and his unveiling yesterday later on in the show.
Lovely. Coming up next, we're going to be taking your calls. Would you like to see Serena Wiegmann manage at your club? 03717 22 3344. We'll get your messages as well. 81089. We'll get to them next.
It's not often you associate fan power with Chelsea Football Club, but one of the shining examples of it lies with a group called the Chelsea Pitch Owners. And they've proved to be the thorn in the side of owners past and present who've been dead set on moving stadiums to a larger, more lucrative piece of land. Essentially, the supporters group holds the freehold to the land on which Stamford Bridge sits. Former owner Ken Bates set it up at a time where some unruly property developers tried to evict the club from their ground. In order to prevent this, he established the CPO as a company that owned the pitch and offered the fans the chance to buy a share for £100. As well as that, they also own the rights to the name Chelsea Football Club, so if any owner wants to take them elsewhere, they can't be called Chelsea without the approval from the CPO. Now, in 2011, Roman Abramovich tried and failed to move them away from Stamford Bridge, and this has set a precedent for Todd Bowley and the current power brokers at Chelsea. They know any plan which involves moving from Stamford Bridge will require CPO approval from the now 13,000 fans who own it. There are fans who are concerned that if they stay at the bridge, they'll be left behind their domestic and European rivals who are moving to more commercially successful stadiums. But for the heritage and history lovers, Stamford Bridge is one of the iconic English stadiums, and to move away would be a grave mistake. It might not be as flashy as others, but stadiums like it have something about them that cannot be replaced. One thing's for sure, if Bowley wants to take Chelsea away from their home, he'll have to go through the CPO first.
What up, party people, how are we at 5:34 on Thursday the 24th of July? This is Early Breakfast here on talkSPORT with Adrian Flux. The cover you need at a price you'll love with what's Fans Insurer of the Year 2021. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. Do not forget, you can watch the show on your smart TV. You can watch us on the YouTube stream as well, or download the talkSPORT app. You can take us anywhere you want today. It's good to be with you. My name's Shebahn, and Alan Brazil and former Liverpool striker Dean Saunders back with you on breakfast at 6 o'clock this morning. Some of your other headlines, by the way. Ipswich have signed Ashley Young on a one-year deal ahead of their return to the Championship. The former Man United and Aston Villa player left Everton this summer after 2 seasons on Merseyside. Ipswich, of course, were relegated from the Premier League in the previous campaign. I'm just shocked. I just thought Watford was going to be like a done deal. In other news, there's some British and Irish involvement in both the Europa and Conference League qualifiers tonight. Hibs take on Midland, Sam? Yeah, nailed it in the Europa. Well, Dundee United take on UNA Strassen in the Conference League. New Saints and Linfield and Larne are also in action as well. Good luck. And also Luke Littler preserved his world match play hopes with a stunning comeback victory against Jermaine Watamina on an epic night of second round action in Blackpool. Littler looked set to suffer a shock exit after Watamina raced into a 7-2 lead, but the teenage superstar roared back to win a classic. All of the action from the darts, by the way, is on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All of our content from there in the night is on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. For more on these stories as well, you can jump onto our website at talksport.com. Just looking at today's back pages, there's a lot of focus on Marcus Rashford in his Barca kit, coming out of a red telephone box when he's made his announcement and landed in Barcelona. By the way, if you haven't watched his press conference yet, we'll bring you some of the best bits from that very, very soon. He's wearing a suit. He looks smashing. It's good to hear him talk and speak freely instead of just being talked about and judged the whole time. We'll bring you that a little bit later on. And the other top story is that Spain will take on the Lionesses in the final, live on talkSPORT this Sunday at 5 p.m. The Lionesses, of course, looking to retain the European Championship, and Spain being the World Cup winners. That final we saw in 2023 at the Women's World Cup. It went to extra time last night, and the winner came from Aitana Bonmatí, of course. Here's talkSPORT's Kevin Hatchard at the full-time whistle.
And all eyes now on the referee, Dina Alves. Her whistle will send Spain through for the first time in their history. Spain have reached the European Championship final for the first time in their history. They've beaten Germany, and the Euro 2025 final will be a repeat of the World Cup final, because Spain will face England on Sunday.
Yep, Spain beating Germany in what was a brilliant game last night. Not easy for Spain whatsoever, but Aitana Bonmatí coming up with a winning moment to see Spain take on the Lionesses in the final. And Serena Wiegmann is all over the back pages today as well. Lionesses in line for a lovely bonus for reaching the final, £87,000 each, and also a damehood for Serena Wiegmann if the team win. Now, our voice of live sport, Adrian Durham, was on the Sports Bar last night with Jamie O'Hara and Adebayo Akinfenwa, and said that he would like to see Serena Wiegmann maybe manage the men's England team. And when Lee Carsley came as the interim, when Gareth Southgate left before Thomas Tuchel came in, he wouldn't have minded seeing her in that role. And it's kind of opened up this conversation of women managing the men's game, and we've had it a number of times here in talkSPORT, but it seems like this tournament has kind of changed a lot of opinions for people. Actually, the messages coming in here are very, very positive, and if you don't feel it will ever happen, that's also fine as well. It's great to have a mixed opinion on this. Good morning to Dave in Gloucester. He said it would be great if Serena did get a job in men's football, but sadly it will not happen. It's a big risk for an owner. Lose a few matches, fans would want her out. How many are there in Europe or even in the world? It would be a very, very brave owner who would be needed to do that. Dave, I completely agree with you on that. It's almost like this big risk putting a woman into the men's game to manage, and at some point we will see it in the future. We saw it briefly with Hannah Dingley at Forest Green Rovers. Very, very briefly, she was put in for a 2-week interim charge, and then it was the time it was all said it was a publicity stunt. I don't believe it was. She's just good at her job and was given that opportunity. But I remember the backlash at the time, you know, how can this possibly happen? You know, from some people thinking it was an utter disgrace that a woman could manage in men's football. But when you look at it on the other side, men are so welcome in women's football. Shebahn, pure ignorance from men. Women equally can manage men's football, regardless of women or men. It's football. That's from Greg in Kent. Good morning to Kate. And Rainey Bolton, morning Kate. She said, I've been a football fan since the age of 6. Luton Town first and Bedfordshire when we moved there. I became a United fan when we moved. I too have only just started and enjoying watching women's football. It's so entertaining. I'm hooked. I do feel that the entertainment has absolutely been there, all thanks to the Lionesses this time. Good morning to somebody here with no name. Not a chance. Women's game, totally different. Maybe managing a Division 2 team. 03717 223344 is the number if you want to have your say. Good morning to Philip, the Crystal Palace fan. Hi Philip, how are you?
Good morning, Shebahn. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing really, really well, thanks. I have to say, I'm knackered from all these extra time games, Philip, but I'm so entertained at the same time. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. I'm tired myself, but there you go.
You will be when you're up at this time in the morning. What do you think about this then? But Serena Wiegman, would you like her maybe at Palace?
Listen, I'll be totally honest with you. I think her record in the game is unbelievable. You can't knock that one little bit. But she reminds me of the female version of Roy Hodgson. You know what sub she's going to do and what minute she's going to do of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that a bad thing?
Roy was... No, not a bad thing, but some managers are set in their ways. No matter whether they think there should be a change or not, they still won't do it. A prime example is when Roy Hodgson was at Crystal Palace, he would never ever make a substitute unless someone was injured before the between 70 and 80 minutes. That's all he ever done. And Sabrina, even from this championship now, you can see she is set in her ways, and she doesn't like making change unless she really has to.
Yeah. The only thing though with Serena, then, I mean, because I've been critical of her this tournament. I'm like, come on, Serena, make your changes now. It has to happen. But here she is in another final, and this is her 5th consecutive major final. I mean, got to give her credit, you know.
Oh yeah, well, as I said at the start of the conversation, her record is second to none. Could she do it in the men's game? Listen, at the end of the day, there's a huge difference in men's football and women's football. Maybe she could, but unless she was given a chance, you would never know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think of Palace and I think of how well they've done this season, right? Absolutely fantastic. The players, whatever like that, have been excellent, as of the fan base. And I think if Serena were Oliver Glasner, and Oliver Glasner has the best backroom staff, the best physios, the best setup around him, it's easier for Glasner to be a better coach. And I kind of think, what would be the difference of that between a man and a woman?
Well, really, there shouldn't be any difference, but the bottom line is, unless women are given a chance, then you're never going to know the answer.
Yeah, exactly that. I completely agree with you. Until we kind of see it, get a good chance, we will never know. Philip, great call. Thank you so much for getting in touch this morning. 03717 223344. Good morning to Jama from the West Midlands. Would love to see a women manager in the men's game. But the backlash they'd face and all the comments that would come out wouldn't be healthy. Honestly, I think the women would get on with it. I think they'd be absolutely fine. Time now for the front pages with Sam.
It's a front page throwdown.
Oh, what a move!
The front pages first on the early sports breakfast.
talkSPORT. Healthy chat, Sam. I'm enjoying
this. Very healthy. Yeah, very good indeed.
Nice calls, nice messages coming in today.
I think she's well equipped to coach in the men's game, you know, Serena.
I think you have to, if you're well equipped. I mean, like Emma Hayes, brain's not normal.
Yeah,
Women's
tactically.
Another level, but she also credits the team around her, which is very diverse. Very diverse team around her. Lots of men, lots of women.
Interesting.
And she says it's all about that makes her better. If it was all women, it would be a problem. If it were all men, it might be a problem. So she mixes it and it works.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens next, if anything, for Serena Wiegman, when she stays on for another few more years. Who knows?
This is true.
Prince William will break away from his summer holiday in the hope of becoming a lucky charm again for the Lionesses in the Euro final. I bring this up because the Lionesses are all over the front pages this morning.
Go on, a gals!
The TV figures that you raised earlier, 10 million, ITV's biggest audience of the year.
But Sam, Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
And
Miles off it.
And also, because I thought you'd quite like this, England celebrated their dramatic 2-1 semi-final win over Italy by eating pizza in the stand.
Pure housery.
Goalie Hannah Hampton looked ready to tuck into the Italian favourite. We can't call it pizza again, can we? With her teammates after the game in the Stade de Genève in Switzerland. One loyal fan joked, the Lionesses tucking into pizza and holding pizza boxes with the Italian flag on after knocking Italy out of the Euros is something I can get behind. I mean, they like to have a laugh, don't they? They like to stir the pot a bit.
I don't know if that was just a genuine... Like, was that not just coincidence, or did they order pizza?
Great question.
But, like, because what if they lost and they were eating pizza?
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
You know, I don't know if that's just a coincidence, but either way, it made for a good meme.
I imagine the Italians were eating a bit of a salty pizza. Very
good.
Very harsh.
Very good.
Now, the Coldplay Kiss Cam couple.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, these have been doing the rounds, haven't they?
Do you know what Alan Brazil mentioned yesterday? He was like, everyone's judging. You know, we don't know what's going on in their personal lives. We don't know about their private lives. And I was like, yeah, you're right. He was right about that. Maybe I've been like, oh, well, look at you. You know, I know about Judge Judy. I mean, I would still kill my husband because it's embarrassing.
Right.
But maybe we don't know what was happening in the personal life.
That's true. That is true. But I feel like, well, no, I won't go there, I should say. Anyway, apparently they can blame the stars for their cheating scandal. Psychic Antonella says the astrological phenomenon of Mercury retrograde, can't even say it, Mercury retrograde has caused havoc with our lives on Earth, apparently. Antonella of Psychic Chat said Mercury retrograde often pulls hidden truths to the surface. So, this situation was all about astrology and the stars. What do you think of that, Shebahn?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a huge way to get caught. It's an astronomical way of getting caught. Not only were you just having a little canoodle.
True.
Coldplay cut to you on a big screen and someone filmed it.
Yeah.
And it broke the internet.
Yes.
I mean, that's one way. Nobody can beat getting caught cheating like that. If it was cheating.
Yes.
It is cheating. If it's not, if they weren't actually, if they hadn't kissed and they hadn't gotten together in that way, they were still micro cheating. If I saw my husband do that, or if I was doing that with a man, it'd be classed as cheating, right?
Yeah, and that's it. I think there's it's difficult to deny that accusation, isn't it?
Micro cheating.
Micro cheating.
I saw a song about that recently, like a country song called Micro Cheating.
Oh, yeah.
If you text a girl and you delete your text, that's micro cheating. And I was like, yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Oh God, we're going down a rabbit hole now.
Got to behave well. Now, you've got a cat, haven't you?
Yeah, my baby.
Has he ever turned up in strange places?
Pogs. I'll show you a picture of him last week. In a house down at number 25.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting on top of their kitchen cabinets.
Really?
Just
wandered down.
Just making himself right at home.
Well, a cat turned up from where it went missing 13 years ago. Oh, no, it didn't. A cat turned up 140 miles from where it went missing 13 years ago. Minx disappeared when owner Jade Yennell moved house, but the feline was handed into a veterinary clinic and staff traced Jade from Minx's microchip. Jade had no idea who Minx, who went missing in Bristol, ended up in Fishguard in Pembrokeshire. That's in Wales, by the way. She was overwhelmed when she got the call from Fishguard vets. Jade said they asked if my cat was missing and they had Minx, who was registered to me. I was in shock. It had been 13 years.
That's crazy. That is crazy. The fact that the cat's lived that long, but then they do have 9 lives. But if you're in St Albans area, you probably know about the St Albans train station cat. He stayed at the train station for about 5 years after getting off the train one day.
Oh, yeah.
As you do. Lived at the train station, became the station cat. And one day, its owners were passing through St Albans on a train.
Yeah.
And we're like, that's our cat. 5 years later, took the cat back home on the train.
Way.
Is that not mad?
That is mad.
Yeah, I used to see him all the time when I was going for my night shifts. I used to get on the train and say hi to this little guy.
You do hear these crazy stories about like pets wandering off and then finding their way back home again, don't they?
They always do. But
it's
listen,
unbelievable, isn't
my cat does everyone's head in. Oh, he's the most hated cat in St Albans.
Is he?
Oh, he's wild. He's wild, but that's why we love him.
Well,
love a psycho cat.
There you go, psycho
You're listening to Early Breakfast here on talkSPORT. Coming up next, we're going to hear from Marcus Rashford, Barcelona forward. We'll do it next morning.
10k for Coldplay.
Good morning. How are you this Thursday? You're listening to Early Breakfast here on talkSPORT. Shebahn with you. Alan Brazil and former Liverpool striker Dean Saunders with you from 6 on talkSPORT Breakfast. It's competition time now. We were just talking about Coldplay, weren't we? From the old Kiss Cam situation. Coldplay are back at Wembley this summer, and we've got a huge VIP prize up for grabs for one lucky listener. Turn your peepers on for this. This could be you. You do not want to miss out on this. Your chance to win 6 tickets to a private box for you and your mates. 22nd of August is the date. Full hospitality. And we're going to give you £10,000 completely tax-free to play with. Here's how you can enter. Listen up. 18 plus. UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, you can text the word WIN, W-I-N, have to spell it, don't get mad, to 83338 by 4th of August at 11 p.m. and then you're in the draw. Texts are £2 plus one standard network rate message. Also, you have to have the bill payer's permission for this. If you'd rather write it down, you can post your name and number to Coldplay Competition, PO Box at 3190. That's Colchester, CO2 8GP, to arrive by 5 p.m. on the 7th of August. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations, and you can get the full terms and conditions at talksport.com. 22nd of August. What you doing with your life then? You could be going to Wembley for a private box, a VIP experience. You and 5 of your mates to Coldplay and £10,000 completely tax-free. So good luck with that. Okay, looking at the back pages for you. Marcus Rashford is a Barcelona player. Lovely pictures of him in his photo shoot coming out of a red telephone box. Nicely done, like that bit of creativity there. Unveiled at the Nou Camp yesterday after completing his 1-year loan to Barcelona. The deal could become permanent at the end of the season, with Barca having the option to pay £30 million for his services. Can he come back to his best in Spain?
So, Laura Aparicio para Mundo Deportivo. Welcome, Marcus, to Barcelona.
It's the perfect place to go and win the biggest trophies, and you see with the team last season, they have a very young team, ambitious team, and you know, I want to come here and add my qualities, my personality, and try to improve the team and help them win.
I had this perfect dream. This dream was me and you.
He's got no excuse now. He'll get the ball in the right areas. Whether he can establish himself in the team is another thing when you look at the players that they've got, like you mentioned.
At 27, you're at the peak of your powers. We talked about, maturing.
As a striker.
Yeah, and you talked about maturing physically. He has a chance. This is at the elite level. This is the last chance.
How come Man United get rid of him and make him train on his own, and then he goes to Aston Villa and they don't want him, and he goes to Barcelona?
The situation with United is, the club is in a period of change, and they have been for a while. So I don't have anything bad to say about Manchester United. I think it's been an important part of not only my career but just my life. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to play for them, but football is the same as life, and not everything goes as simple as you may have thought.
That's such a good package. Oh, good to hear from Marcus Rashford. I mentioned this earlier on. I mean, quite often we're here just talking about him, we're talking at him, we're judging him. But it's to hear him speak and to see him look well and dressed in a suit and feel proud of himself and seem like he's invigorated is very, very pleasing to see. Good luck to Marcus Rashford, I say. He's a Barcelona player. Not sure how much game time he'll get, of course, because it's such a stacked, talented squad in terms of forwards. But fair play to him. He's got this move. A lot of people doubted that this move could happen because of, say, the baggage and the version of Marcus Rashford would maybe seen in the Premier League over the last few years. But you cannot take away from the guy. He's an unbelievably talented player. And I think it's just nice to hope for the best for people. He said he's happy, he's healthy. He didn't diss Man United. It's an important part of his life. And he said that discipline keeps him going. So he's here because he's disciplined, and fingers crossed it works out for him. He says he doesn't mean any disrespect to anyone in making this decision, but he has his decisions to make and he won't regret any of them. So good luck to Rashford. Hopefully it will go well for him. On Drive yesterday, former Villa striker Gabby Agbonlahor gave Rashford some advice on how to get the best out of his time at Barca.
I think he's going to have to work hard. He's going to have to do everything the manager wants him to do. He's got to live for Barcelona.
Yeah.
In that sense, he's got to
immerse yourself in the culture, everything.
Yeah, everything, and take the right people with you. Don't take too many people with you. Go out for meals if you can with other players. Go around to other players' houses and go for dinner on the evenings and stuff. Like, just be full in Barcelona, because people will say, and I agree, quite lucky to get this move.
Yeah.
Now you've got it. Go and get yourself signed next summer.
Gabby Agbonlahor back on Drive with Adi Oladipo today on talkSPORT. On the Transfer Insiders, Rory Jennings says Man United shouldn't take the blame for Rashford's recent fall from grace.
I think it's really, really unjust to blame Manchester United for the trouble that Marcus Rashford finds himself in. Marcus Rashford himself decided to go boozing in Belfast when he was supposed to be playing and representing Manchester United. Marcus Rashford himself has made terrible decisions with regard to his conduct at Manchester United, and let's also be totally clear, his form has been pitiful. Manchester United, certainly the fans, deserve praise. I don't know if there's a fan base in the country.
Incredibly loyal bunch.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a fan base in the country that pride themselves more on sort of backing their own. And that you can extend that courtesy to the way that they looked after David Beckham when he was a pariah in the country. You can extend that courtesy to the way that they looked after Eric Cantona when he was a pariah in the country. You can extend it to the way that they've always serenaded their Argentine players with the
also
chance of
the
Argentina.
way that they've backed manager after manager.
Cristiano Ronaldo
failed.
Cristiano Ronaldo, after the winking scandal against Wayne Rooney, they backed him. They will forever back their players.
Rory Jennings sitting on the fence as usual when it comes to Marcus Rashford. Listen, we're all entitled to an opinion, but he looks the part. He looks good in this photo shoot yesterday, arriving at the new camp as a Barcelona player. Good luck to Marcus Rashford. You never know, if it goes well for him, he might be making his way back into that England team anytime soon. Coming up for you on talkSPORT Breakfast today, it's Alan Brazil and former Liverpool striker Dean Saunders on the show. They've got former Man United captain Steve Bruce, ex-Lion, and talkSPORT commentator Ben Kay will be here to look ahead to that second test. It's live and exclusive for you this Saturday here on talkSPORT. And also we'll focus on the Lionesses. Serena Wiegmann is in line to get a Dame Hood, and there's discussions over her. Maybe could she be in the men's game soon as well. You've been listening to Early Breakfast here with Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. talkSPORT Breakfast up next.